Hello, 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 and welcome to your Aunties Could Never. I'm Auntie AK, and I'm here with
Auntie Farah,
Auntie Nana,
and Auntie Sade.
Hey, my ladies. How are ya? What's your day been like? Give me a highlight from your day. Talk to me.
That's a good question. I think my day's been super busy, but I was able to take a quick nap today. So that was the highlight of my day.
I like it.
Highlight. You know what? The highlight of my day was waking up, laughing, remembering when we found out that Auntie AK is actually 5'2", or maybe even 5'1".
Yeah,
I woke up like just cackling to myself at that. That's been the highlight of my day.
Okay, so then the highlight of my day is you guys finally understanding that Auntie Aquia is 5'2", because I've been saying this for a long time, and you've all looked at me like I'm mad, and I've said it to you. So now I feel vindicated.
But the thing is, you're vindicated.
The highlight of my day.
You're vindicated on a lie because I'm not 5'2". I'm like 5'3", 5'4".
Okay, can you
I need not 5'4".
evidence of your height?
You're not 5'4".
I got measured the other day. I need to find my measuring stick. I'll measure myself and tell you.
You haven't measured.
How tall are you, Fine? You're 5'5".
No, you can't. I'm 5'5" and I own it because that's how tall I am.
I'm 5'4".
You are not 5'4". You can't measure from your ankle. You know you have to measure from the bottom of your foot.
Liberties.
I'm gonna get struck off and muted for the rest of the show. Nonsense. My highlight was coming to see you lot. No, it's not. And my highlight is also, do you know what, Auntie Sade? It was actually getting a nice little nap in. And I was listening to a class about sponsorship and funding, and so it was really nice to I was meditating to it. Well, not meditating, sleeping and thinking and listening. And it was actually a nice zone out moment because I was very damn tired. But yes, that was my highlight. This is episode 111. I thought it was, I messed up all my dates, so thank you, Auntie Nana. I bet corrected it. Episode 111. This is Aunties Could Never, a podcast for cool aunties and uncles and everyone everywhere. We hear no nonsense, straight talking, and good chat and vibes. So get your plates, get your drinks, and let's start the show. Auntie Farah. What's up, kid? I don't know why Farah came into it. It's another extension of Farah.
Ew. Okay. So today's game, I thought the aunties, we went to WAP brunch yesterday, and we met a lovely lady whose name escapes me right now. But she makes a game, and it's called TBC, to be continued. This is it. We'll put the link somewhere. And I thought that what we could do is, I've gone through it. We can't play the game in full. Have you guys all got a drink?
I was about to say, you should have told us to have a drink. I don't. I've only got
Auntie Nana never fails.
I will go and quickly get a shot or something. Hold on. Give us 2 seconds.
I'm going to drink imaginary wine.
No, go and get a glass. In the meantime, me and Auntie Nana.
I can't. I have to work after, so I can't. But I will drink.
I can't get my slippers. Okay, 1 sec.
Hurry up. Go on, Auntie Sade.
I can't. I've got to work after this. Honestly, I can't. But I will drink water. We'll protect. Okay. Yeah.
Right,
you know I'm a lightweight anyway, so.
I know you're such a lightweight. At least you own it. I like the fact that you own it. Yeah. After you have a drink, you're then like, I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Get a bowl, but I can't do anymore. Whereas me and Auntie Nana are like, yeah, where's the next drink? Yeah. I'm finished.
This is like a half.
Nana, you're muted, by the way.
I'm back on now. Sorry, I'm doing the links out to various groups to come and join us. I've managed to do all of that.
I've got a half cup of Malibu now.
Okay, fine. So basically, we have to go around the room, and I'm going to start with you, Auntie AK.
Yo.
Okay, and this one, you have to name 5 trainer brands in 10 seconds. Wait for the timer.
Jeez.
Oh my God, where's my timer? I'm under time. I'm stressed out. Where is it? Ooh, where's my clock?
It sounds like you said, where's your Glock?
Where is my Glock?
Wouldn't they say?
Where is it? There it is. All right, cool. This is giving you time to think about it. I shouldn't have let you.
I
All right.
mean, I was dancing. I actually forgot to think.
Ready, steady, go.
Nike, Adidas, Diodora, Puma, Reebok. Have I missed one? What's the one? Reebok and Fila. I've done 5.
Well done.
Yeah.
A lot of ums there,
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna have those.
Excuse me for having an moment.
Technically, I don't even know if I can do it like that. Like, my brain doesn't work like that. Okay. Auntie Sade,
Oh God.
you're up next.
Yeah. Okay.
Go.
Oh, sorry. Wait, I'm doing more.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get it.
It's like nearly 8 seconds. 9, 10,
Okay.
fail.
None. I've failed because
And all you're drinking is water, so it's not really working for me.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, you didn't say that we're answering the same question. You just
All right, I'll give Auntie Sade another one.
no.
Name 5 sex positions in 10 seconds. Ready? Go.
Missionary, doggy, cowgirl, reverse cowgirl, standing up, being held.
You've got it. That was 8 seconds.
Okay.
You're doing better than Auntie AK. It took her 10.
what? It's insulting me. I've made it.
This is
All right. Auntie Nana,
Okay.
name. I'm going to remix this a little bit because we've been doing 10 seconds one. So I'm going to remix this one a little bit for you. Name as many, it's very difficult, as many countries as you can, starting with the letter S in 10 seconds. Go.
Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Swaziland, South Africa.
Yeah, you did it. That was really good. And you did it in 8.5 seconds. Excellent.
That's really good. I'm impressed.
Very
I'm
good,
the games
very
master,
good.
so I'm not doing any, but that's that. But yeah, basically,
I'll pour a drink
I
out
know.
and looking. I'll
go
pour it-
and get her game. It's really good. It's a good drinking game, and there are some seriously spicy things in there that we couldn't do because you have to do it when you're all together. But it's seriously spicy and seriously fun. There's command cards that instruct you to do things. There's dare cards. There's questions, and the ones that we just did are the mini game cards. So the idea is that you pick a card and then you do whatever it is that the card tells you to do, and it's super fun. And Auntie Nana will find the link and put it on Instagram.
My point is, I put out Malibu for no reason.
I mean, you can sip it.
I mean, drink it.
Yeah.
I don't even have a mixer.
Knock it back.
I mean,
No.
I did beat
See
you.
how quickly you can drink it. 5 seconds. Go.
You lost in some way.
Okay.
5 seconds.
Auntie Farah, are you welcoming to the family?
Okay, so I would like to welcome to the family. If I can find it, here we are. I'd like to welcome YARA Shahidi to the family. She is the accomplished actress who's been in Blackish and Grownish, as well as many other things. She's an activist, she's a producer, and now she's a Harvard graduate. So I would just like to welcome her because, girl, she's super inspirational, and I got a lot of time for her. She does a lot for, her generation, and I just think it's brilliant that she managed to graduate Harvard while doing all these other amazing things. So big up to her.
Whoa, that's
Yara.
We're tapping it
well
with you.
done. Well done, well done. So guys, just to remind you, if you're listening to our shows via our podcast platforms, please leave your reviews, especially under Apple and Spotify. I've introduced a review section, so please make sure you add your comments and your reviews and your likes to support us. We also have a Patreon, so sign up there, patreon.com/your aunties could never. And I think that's about it. So come on now, let's get into the show. We're going to get into our news and culture section where we talk about what's going on in the news and culture world today, this week, last week, and all that type of stuff. What's currently got us chatting. We've got a bunch of things to get through. Let's see what we can get through. So Auntie Sade, pick a story, any story. You're on mute, my love.
Clearly wasn't ready because I'm not supposed to be first.
Because we had a conversation about Nana going afterwards.
Oh, for her second one. But it's okay. It's
Oh,
fine.
my bad.
My
Sorry.
story is about basketballer Brittney Griner. So basically, what's happened is like since February, Brittney has been held in Russia. So she's been going for the last 9 years apparently to Russia to play basketball. And she basically was held there apparently she had some vapes with her, and apparently the vapes had like cannabis like oil in there or something. That's alleged, basically. So they've held her for drug smuggling. And I just kind of want to know, like, her wife, sorry, 1 second. I hate when this happens. Reject all, please. Her wife done a what's her name? Cherie. She done a interview with Good Morning America, and she was basically asking President Biden, like, you know, you have the power to bring her home, and nothing seems to be happening. I think she spoke to somebody in the White House, the Secretary of State, and she said that she, you know, Sherelle said that she's, you know, she's happy for the call, but at the same time, no one knows what's happening with her. No one knows when she's coming back. And, you know, it just got me thinking, like, I'm not really hearing a lot of people talk about this, right? Like, I'm not really hearing, like, you know, if this was like her male equivalent, whether it's like, I mean, she's the greatest, you know, female basketball player of all time. So we're talking in like, you know, the Steph Currys, you know, the LeBrons, like that's her equivalent. If they went to Russia and were held, this would be non-stop news, you know, and they'll be extracted out of there, I'm assuming anyway, like very, very quickly. And I'm just wondering, like, why is that not happening? I just wanted to know, have you guys heard about this story? Did you know that this was happening? What do you think can be done to kind of like help this situation, really? Yeah, because, you know, obviously, and to the full context, obviously, Russia is at war with the Ukraine at the moment. So they've got a lot of sanctions. The US have put a lot of sanctions on them. So it's like, you know, European countries as well, kind of thing. So it's like fully a hostile situation. And arguably she could be like a hostage, really. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I know about Brittney Griner, known about her for a little while and her talents in WNBA. I don't know, I just thought it was a really, really weird, random story, random occurrence. I mean, at the very first of it, yes, maybe she had the vapes, but they were empty. It's not like they had anything in them. Maybe there's some residue, but you've really got to, I think, you know, authorities should be able to prove whether there was any type of intent or usage, could have been from any other trip. So certain times you can just like apply, what's it called, fair consideration to the situation. She didn't have actual cannabis oil in there. So really, technically, on a technicality, she could come home. She should come home. Obviously, there's petty political wars that she's been caught up into. It's very disturbing that it's a Black woman. And that, yeah, you're extremely right. That if it was LeBron James, this would be everywhere. Everyone would be talking about it a lot. I mean, I think maybe there's more noise about it in America because WNBA is like, there's more attention about that in America. So I'm sure there's more conversation. That's where I've seen it from certain news streams. But I think Joe Biden, I think there's not much we can do. Joe Biden, step in and bring a person home. Take her out of this political conversation, and she shouldn't be pawned. It's so random as well. So I think there's not much on that. It's just bring her home. Just take her out of the conversation. I did read somewhere about this ban, these Americans that are banned from going to Russia, and apparently something about Danny Glover. Some random people were on a list, but it was a social media thing. I didn't actually look into the background. There's a list of American actors and stuff that are not allowed to go to Russia right now. So it's just, you know, everyone's playing petty, and we, the human beings that are not part of this conversation, need to not be involved.
I think, unfortunately, you touched on something there where you said she's like a pawn, or not even a pawn, but she's collateral damage, I think I will say, because unfortunately, with everything that's going on with Russia and Ukraine, I very much doubt that Biden and any of those guys are going to be able to get her out. You know, I say that because Russia are not listening to America about anything else. currently America are sending weapons to Ukraine to help with the war. I just don't see how Russia are then going to listen to them about this. And it's very unfortunate because she's totally trapped in this situation. But I think if they weren't in the midst of this war, I think it would definitely be more highlighted, and she would, she would have been out by now. But I think what Auntie Sade said is very true. If it was a man, it would be completely different. But because of what's happening with the war, I just feel like that is going to stop any kind of peace talks, because they are they are providing weapons for Russia's opposition. So I just don't know how that's going to sit politically with them.
Honestly, I think I was watching her wife talking, can't think who she was speaking to, but and Angela Rye, I actually think it was actually Angela Rye that she was speaking to, and she was saying the lack of kind of sports personality speaking up about it is a huge factor as to like people not being galvanized and really rallying around her actually getting freed from Russia. But then also Stephen Amos was also saying that they haven't spoke about it as much as they could do. He admitted that, and then went on to do an interview with her wife. I think all of the talk isn't really going to do anything though, because politically it's very similar to what I had as my mad last week about the lady that was being captured by Iran. Russia aren't just going to free her just because people are talking about it. She's obviously being used as a bargaining chip, and at this moment, what can you do? It's like these are the games that the government plays, and it's highly unfortunate. But I do think that it's probably gonna take a while. It's gonna take a few years, like realistically, unless they do some swaps or they pay something. But it's not really about Biden doing anything. Like just he's gonna have to do a trade, and the trade probably is stop funding the Ukraine with weapons, but release some of the funds of our funders. It's like it's going to be that type of a trade-off, and that's the unfortunate thing when you get captured.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I guess like it's terrible timing when she was there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like she's knowingly gone into like a war zone or a country that she thought was probably going to war anytime soon. No one, I don't think any of us thought that was going to happen like on a serious, like realistic level and to this extent. But I don't know. I kind of feel there's probably more that they can do. Do you know what I mean? Like they, as I'm seeing, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I've seen Ronald saying in the comments there, like, they have prisoners of war probably in the States as well, kind of thing. Like an exchange can be done person to person. Like, who knows what if it's like a ransom situation, do you know what I mean? Like, or money kind of situation and stuff. I just don't think enough is being done because of who she is. Do you know what I mean? And that she's not seen as like a high enough profile person to make a move on. And I think that's similarly to the Iran case. Like, had it been someone else, had it been someone who's more high profile, maybe like or usually male as well kind of thing, then they would take more action or take it more seriously or have more coverage about it as well kind of thing. And I just think it's, I do think pressure in the government does help at times, at least to try and hold them accountable for their actions or their inaction. So yeah, that's my thoughts really.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what happens on this one. Auntie me. Shall I go next? Mm-hmm. I want to talk about two things. However, we'll figure it out. Okay, I'm going to lighten the mood. This is a culture story. I saw on Twitter some girl saying that a man blowing his food was a turn off. So it sparked a debate that you know, basically this girl tweeted that yeah, a man was blowing on his food, and it turned her off on the date. She was on a date and a man blew his food. So my thing is, at first I was like, that's ridiculous. But then you know, when you're just thinking things out, I blew my food and I started laughing. I was thinking, if I saw a man go like that, would I think he was a bit effeminate? I don't know. And would I not have a second date with him because he blew his food? Guys, it's a ridiculous debate, but it did wage on. And it is the deeper question, the deeper conversation is about what is seen as masculine and feminine traits and the pickiness of women. If like she's literally obviously single, maybe she's not, but she's on a date. She's decided that I'm not going to date this guy again because he blew his food. So and I saw lots of memes saying, you know, did they want him to like bouncing his
I didn't think that it was because it was a feminine thing. I just thought she thought it was like a bit of a wimp, like a why are you blowing your food, like annoying, like what's wrong with you type vibes. Because I blow my food. My food's hot, I'm blowing it. What do you want me to do? I don't care if I'm on a date. It's hot. What am I going to do? Be like, fan it and then put it in my mouth delicately, or I'll just have a salad. No, if my food's hot, I'm going to blow it. And then it did make you think, well, I wonder if I've been on dates and I've blown my food and the man's been like, why is she blowing their food then?
No, I don't think it's like a negative for women to do that, but I definitely can see how you can look at a man differently and think, are you even a man? Like, do you know?
Like, it's kind of sexual.
No, not even like. I think underlining it is. It can be seen in that effeminate state. It can be seen as like you're not, you know, I hate these terms now, but you're not an alpha. I was gonna say like Simply Shayo, like comedian. I friggin' love this girl who you know, goes viral constantly on TikTok and Instagram. Like she has a whole series about what it is to be a man, and so her whole thing is about trolling them because she really likes them, which I just think is brilliant. And she has one about, you know, like if a man wears a backpack with two with both shoulders. And now for the life of me, every time I see a man with like two shoulder backpack, I'm just like backpack. And like I can't take them seriously. I just think it's just so freaking, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't my pet peeve, but it just makes me laugh. Do you know what I mean? But then
that makes me laugh.
Backpack thing, because guys with backpacks, it's never been an issue because one shoulder is a bit more handbaggy than two shoulders. I feel like two shoulders is like you're a man, you're putting it on properly, but one shoulder and it's swinging like a handbag. That makes me. I never actually ever thought about that. But
you know what I hate? You know when you see men pushing buggies and they're pushing the buggy and they're not behind it. They push it, they've got like, they're holding it with one. So like, say it's got two handles, right? Instead of being behind it and pushing it, they're walking to the side of it and they're holding it with one hand. I'm like, what's wrong with you, bro? Oh my God, I can't stand. Like, do you think it makes you look less of a man to be pushing the buggy with two hands behind it? I see that all the time. I see dudes do it all the time.
I don't see it regularly, but I do. Yeah,
I've seen it once, but I think I've seen more.
The buggy and push it, like so. The buggy is there, and they're like walking. With
it.
Like
they're walking beside it, holding
like,
one of the
with a trolley, like you know, supermarket with shopping trolley. They'll do that as well. Like,
oh no, I think that. Yeah, that's very annoying. I always thought it was probably to do with their back. I don't know, like maybe it's
because they're too tall and sleeping over.
No,
that's why
women.
No, Auntie Nana, if your husband blows his food, would be like, no, we're divorcing tomorrow.
You know what? When I saw that, I was like, people have crazy icks, and I couldn't think, have I actually even seen that? Would I know? I don't know if I'd even notice, but I get why that could be a little bit of an ick. Like I don't like. An ick for me is licking a fork. Like, you know, when you finish all your food and you lick the fork, I absolutely hate that. Like, so that would be my thing at a date where I'd just be like, never, no, that's not happening. Or cleaning your plate with your finger. I just hate all of them.
Oh, no, that's just bad table manners. But how should a honestly, guys,
I think the ick is like something that is normally normal that people are disgusted by. Like, do you know what I mean? What you're saying is bad table manners. Like,
but the thing is, guys, how should a man cool his food down to put it into his mouth?
Blow it, bro.
or just wait?
You're just gonna have to wait. You're just gonna have to wait. I don't want to see you.
You can blow your food, and you know why you can blow your food? Because I'm blowing mine, so you can blow your food. Blow away.
We can blow food together. No, just wait for it to cool down, man. It's not.
No, but then okay, let's imagine this. You've gone out to dinner, yeah. You're eating your food. You're blowing your food away because it's fucking hot, yeah. And then the man sat there, not eating, watching you blow your fucking food.
Oh, he's going.
When you're done, he's like, no, like, so what? I'm eating, and you're just sitting there.
I eat slow.
That's weird. Right. I eat really slow, but if I'm eating and I've gone to a restaurant and we're sitting across each other and you're just waiting with your full plate for the steam to disperse, I don't. No.
It shows the level of self-control.
I don't think.
I think it's simple. I'm waiting for my food to cool down.
Yeah.
I'm going to be icked by him waiting for his food to cool down. Then he's blowing. That guy could have been blowing and some spit flew out of his mouth. While he was
That's different. She didn't say that. She just said he blew his food. I think if spit was flying out of his mouth when he was blowing his food, she would have said that. That would have been one of the things.
This girl said she enjoyed the date, but she's not interested in the second one because I blew my food to cool it down. Man's confused.
No. Yeah, sorry, babe. The thing is, she didn't have to be that honest, but I'm glad that she was. She stood in her truth, and that was it. Like, so, yeah, everyone has icks, man. Like,
she's entitled to have her ick, but I'm just saying, for me, which was the question, I'm not gonna not date you.
Yeah. I just think it depends on the person. So it could be anyone, right? I mean, I've been on a date. I think I've said this before, like, where the guy just turned me off so much. Like, I just wasn't feeling it that I ended up spudding him. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I didn't want him to hug me. Like, so I was just like serious, which is just weird. But like, do you know what I mean? But it's just because I didn't like him.
You could have given him a half hug.
No, I didn't want him to hug me. I didn't want him.
The thing is, if I half hugged him, and I think I know where Auntie Sean is going, like, but I have gone on dates, and then like I'll be like, pat, you know, them ones, like pat. No. Yes.
Well, it's physicality as well, because I'm a larger-chested lady. So sometimes even a half hug, you're still touching me. I could be like this, and you're still touching me. No, thank you. I don't like it.
Well, I will not refuse a man for blowing on his food if he blows on his food in a normal human way. If he's doing the most either way, if he's doing it like romantically, if he's doing it in some dodgy way, like or blowing his food, it blows off the freaking fork. That's a problem. But if you're normal human, man, the food's off. It's just, I can't even imagine. Now she's done this, I can't even imagine a man doing it. It's really pissing me off. I don't want to keep doing that thing. But anyway, moving on. People in the comments, let us know if a man blowing on his food is a problem for you, ladies, and anyone who dates men. All right, Auntie Farah, which story do you want to go with?
I don't know, to be honest with you. All right, since we're talking about men, let's go for the father of 33. There's a guy in America who's got 33 children, and it is for, I think it's 17 different women. And he was on social media talking about, you know, look at me. There was pictures of him and his 33, well, some of his children, and he faced backlash. And then he came back to social media outraged that people had anything to say about him and his 33 children and his 17 baby mothers. He was like, I look after my children. What do you guys think? Do you think that he deserves the backlash? Do you think it's okay as long as he looks after his children? Would you date a man who had 33 children if he looked after them?
Can we play what he was saying? Is there a way we can just play what he was saying?
The link is in the running order, so if you want to click on it.
All right, cool. Where we at? All right, so I'm just going to play it rather than show it. He's talking to me. Hold on. Here we go.
They're swearing in it, just FYI.
Oh, I can't hardly hear what he's saying, mate. Sorry. It's not playing.
Can we just summarize?
Wait, motherfucker. Since talking about my motherfucking kids, you niggas got 3 or 4 boy don't do a motherfucking thing.
Oh no. I know.
Ain't shit weak over here. My pockets ain't weak and my dick soul ain't weak, bitch ass nigga. You pussy ass nigga sitting there talking. Ain't got a motherfucking dollar in your pocket. Ain't got a dollar in your motherfucking pocket.
Is he real?
Dollar in your motherfucking pocket. But you
Let me just pause it to say, guys, he's got money, dollar bills in his hand, and he's stripper flowing them. He's doing that in his video whilst he's cussing us all for not basic, for for some of those who have 1 or 2 kids and don't take care of them. He, with the dollars that he's dashing, takes care of his kids. I'll just play a little bit more, then we shall move on.
want to talk that shit. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. Fuck you mean, bitch. I'm still that nigga. When you get like me, then you gonna fuck with me, bitch. That's all I got to say, nigga. You niggas will never be.
Okay. I'm very sorry.
You're mute.
I'm sorry for the profanity and the insultions, because he called us all N-words and everything for cussing him. Guys, is he a viable candidate? And is he wrong for being vexed? I mean, would you be vexed if people's cussing you? He takes care of his kids. He's got 33 and...
I think he's an idiot for thinking that people wouldn't say anything. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a natural everyday occurrence. Like, he's obviously gone out of his way to make this happen. And it's like, it's not the norm. So I just don't think... I just don't think that we should. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that he's maybe self-aware enough to know that this is problematic, like for society and for his children. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just very random. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't sound like a real person. He sounds like a character in a show.
Like the epitome of like proper ghetto. Just that whole stereotype, and he was flashing money as well, like literally, like look at all the money I've got, and just I don't even know. It reminds me of, can you remember on Yanda Vincent when there was that man in
yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And that episode when she was literally like breaking down how dysfunctional all of you are, like, but this one's just pig ignorant is literally like that, he's not stopping. So again, it just goes back to that thing of like, when are we going to start talking to these women? 17. Can you imagine? There's probably cousins in there. Like, that's ridiculous. Like,
oh God.
I don't know how true this is, but it says that it can't be true. If it's true, we've got some serious other issues to look at. But it says that he's 34 and his oldest child is 26. Which would have made him 9.
No, that can't be right.
I don't think that's right. But his youngest is 1. There's sets of twins in there. I just find it interesting because, like, is this what Future's going for?
My thing is
this what? Well, Nick Cannon's now come out and said that he doesn't want any more children and he's considering getting the snip.
Oh, really?
Okay. Does he have the right to be vexed with people cussing him, guys?
No. People are gonna cuss anyway. In general, people are gonna cuss. People have opinions. That's just standard. But like, what you're doing, like, you can't. We don't live in that society where everyone's just like peace and love. Like, do what you want. We like to pretend that we do, but we don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on.
The thing is, as well. Sorry to interrupt you, just quickly. Like, taking care of your children doesn't just mean financially taking care of your children. Like, how much time is he spending with these 33 children? Because
I don't believe he's got that much money either. I just don't.
He ain't got that much money. Like, what does he do for a job? Not that I care, because it's just, as I said, I think it's about spending time with your kids. Like, there's not enough days in the week for you to spend time with your children.
I think to give him some defense, I think he's got the right to call out those who don't look after their kids at all, separate them from the commenters, but everybody else is going to comment and we have every right to. But for those he was talking, when he said, don't look after their 1, 2 kids, those people, yeah, he has a point. If he looks after his 33 and can prove that he looks after his 33, and you've got 1 or 2 or less than 33 at the very least, at least less than 10, and you can't look after them, man has a point. He might have a valid argument somewhere in this discussion.
Reckless. I actually think it's a violence. I don't know. Like, I think this is a type of like disorder that some men have, that they're obsessed with spreading their seed. Like, I just think I do. I'm not sure that this is sanity.
No, but it's attached. When we talk about the deeper side of things, we have attached it to masculinity, and if you've got nothing else going for yourself, at least you can create human life. That's attached to masculinity, definitely. That's that one thing. My seed lives on and on and on and on. I think that's a good discussion. I don't know if enough men are having that conversation about actually what is this thing where you feel like you must father a bunch of kids. What does that mean? It shows that you're virile, and that's attached to their testosterone and masculinity levels. If you can still make kids forever, that's the one thing you can do. And seeing, like, as we, not that Kojo, shout out Kojo, is saying that when he was like the pride in seeing a replica of himself. I think men have this thing about their seed and their legacy and creating more. But I definitely think there's some issues attached to that. If for nothing else, you can make kids.
I just have to add one more thing that he said, which is annoying. He said, my pull out game isn't weak. I just don't pull out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad one.
He literally said that.
What's a bad one?
That's just gross.
But you're right, Auntie Nana. Any woman that continues to sleep with him, he's on like 17 baby mothers. 17. Woo.
That's not a party I want to go to. Imagine. We get the comments before we move on to your story, Auntie Nana.
Okay.
Right. It's me, isn't it? So
Yeah.
So in relation to this story, Rafaela says, father of 33, how on earth is he looking after 33 children? I have so many questions. Where do you even begin? And Sid says, hello, hi. Nicholas says, is he the role model for Nick Cannon? And Kazi says, not everybody wants monogamy. We live in a society where people pay for embryos and sperm to have children by themselves. Yeah, we do.
I'd just like to shout out to Neo Adate as well, who said that there's a beautiful irony in me giving people the heads up that they're swearing in the video. Off.
And he also said, if a man turned around and said, I don't blow my food because it's not manly, you would all say he's a Neanderthal knuckle dragger. Possibly. But
yeah, it's true.
Women's prerogative to say what the hell they want.
Yeah, it's true. But if you like them, you wouldn't mind. But if you don't, that's when it's icky.
It's just worse.
That's it, innit? She just wasn't feeling him.
Yeah.
She's the wrong excuse. All right, Auntie Nana, come on with your story, please.
All right, so my story that I'm going to go for is my culture story, and it is on a TikToker who goes by the name of hstikkytokky, whose real name is Harrison Sullivan, and he's been doing the rounds on social media because he went viral on a live where he's with his friends, and he says that he is going to be linking his latest black ting, who is also, he described her as dark chalk, and then went on to say that she isn't like a drogba. She's like a black girl that's like a white girl. And then he doubled down on that furthermore and went on further to say that most black women are ugly. We're also joined.
Sorry.
We doubled down. I'm going to play it all.
I missed that bit.
But we are joined by the lady that he was speaking about. She will be joining us. She's not on camera, but she's willing to kind of talk about her experiences with him as well. So I'm going to just add her on now. So she will be here.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
How do you want to be
Thank you
introduced?
for having me.
How do you want to be introduced?
My name's Mandi.
Okay, cool. So Mandi, we'll play the clip and then we'll come back to continue the discussion.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
This is the first one that went viral in the first instance. Should be coming on in a second.
Hey, what are you saying today, bro? If you're trying to go gym.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Now it's going to come.
Hey, what are you saying today, bro? If you're trying to go gym.
I'm meeting a bird. I've just been in gym.
What bird you meeting?
You don't know her, G. Just something I pulled on live. Just yeah, she's nice. She's black. My first black.
I swear.
Yeah, she's fit. You'd find her fit though. She's like, you know them black things that look white. Nah, you know, like with the facial expressions, like, you know, like.
So, what does that consist of, mate? What does that consist of? The black things that look white. How do the black things look white, mate?
No, bruv, it's just the ones that ain't coming like Drogba, bruv. Well, nah, for real, she ain't coming like Drogba at all. She's looking pang.
You're still on mute, Nana.
Wow.
That was the first video that went viral everywhere.
Okay.
And then he came back with a follow-up after there was the whole Twitter backlash, and he had more to say. Oh, 1 second.
Mate, it's so fucking pathetic, bro. I was like, on Chapter Ed, I was like, I'm meeting a bird today. This was on a...
Sorry, it keeps on stopping us.
Mate, it's so fucking pathetic, bro. I was like, on Chapter Ed, I was like, I'm meeting a bird today. This was on a live stream. He was like, oh, who are you meeting? I was like, oh, I'm meeting this peng blackbird. I was like, you'd fucking fancy her. And I was like, do you know one of them black girls? It just doesn't look like a standard black girl. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, they're just not coming like Drogba. It's just a fact, bro. I don't know why these girls get impressed as well. I'm not racist, obviously. My dad is literally black. But it's like the majority of black girls aren't fit. And you are the very extreme of very fit blackbirds. So it's just a fact. And all these butters blackbirds that literally look fucking clapped, that no one wants to go near, are now pressed.
I can't. Go on, Nana.
Oh, I really want us to discuss what's going on with this guy and really what your thoughts are on colorism with young people. But for Mandi that is joining us as well, just what her experience has been as the black girl in question, and you know, her identity going all the way around social media and just being subjugated to being referred to like your beauty is in standard with a white woman as well. How that's made you feel. But for us, as the kind of like elders in the room, how do we tackle this? Like, what is there to do? If he was your nephew, how would you tackle this? And do we blame his dad?
Mandi, we'd love to hear your thoughts first. Is she still on mute? Can you
unmute?
I can't. Mandi, if you can unmute.
No, we can't.
We can't hear you. I'm trying.
Was there something happened? Sorry.
Sorry, guys. We're just trying to reconnect with Mandi. From what I can see, it's all working fine.
Maybe leave and come back and see if we can do it like that.
Yeah, I think so. While Mandi's sorting out her things, I will just say, if he was my nephew, I would be round his house so very fast to have a conversation with him, a serious conversation about what he thinks, because there's so many things in his comments, his initial talk with his brethren. Even the guy that he was talking to seemed confused by his statement. Yeah. Even the white guy that he was talking to seemed confused by his statement about she's a black girl but looks white or acts white. And then he went on to say her mannerisms. I don't know. Mandi, you're back on now. If you can just answer like how this made you feel once you saw it. Technical difficulties.
Oh, no, it's like it's still not connected. There we go. Let's see if she can get that connection back up again and it works.
I mean, okay. When I saw it, I was just like, this. First of all, he sounds levels of foolish, but it doesn't matter at this point because it's gone viral. Everyone's heard it. And we know that people share these views. There's a lot of conversation about black girls not cutting it in comparison to white girls and you know, the exoticism of beauty and beauty standards. And so it's really frustrating that we keep going in this vicious circle. It's interesting because actually Mandi, I mean, I don't know how she describes herself. She's not as I did when I saw the video, the clip. I thought he was talking about someone who's maybe light skinned or to the point where she could pass as white. So okay, we can hear you, Mandi.
Can you guys hear me properly?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. So let's let you talk before anything happens again. So please share your thoughts about, well, you are the woman in question. What What's the story from your perspective?
I think it was just a bit crazy, like when he compared me to like a white woman, because I feel like if anyone sees me, I'm black, I'm fully black. I don't feel like I have white girl features or anything like that. So I think that comment was very crazy, on top of like, you know, the Drogba one, and, you know, saying like not many black girls are pretty or leng and things like that. It was just a bit, it took me by shock, and it took me by shock later on because I hadn't seen everything. Like I just got calls, you know, to come online, respond, and I was like, what's going on? And he never really gave me like a heads up on what he had said and stuff like that, which made me look very stupid and like maybe I'm a white girl inside. That's what people kept saying, like I'm sticking up for him and defending him and stuff like that. But it's like I didn't know how to deal with that. Like I just rather keep quiet and be like, you know, I don't want to spin. I feel like I'm a black girl. I don't feel like I have white features. I don't feel like I want to be white. I'm very comfortable in my skin, but these comments did have me I feel like they almost had me insecure at one point, to think like, you know, is there something wrong with me? Can I not relate to what people are saying, or am I wrong for her had gone out with him, even though I didn't know he had said these things when me and him had gone on our date? So it kind of just like, it was a lot of regret on my side, like so embarrassing, because I'm usually very confident in myself, and this just like, yeah, it was just a bit too much for me to handle, from social media, from a lot of like, you know, other black girls coming to me with their opinions, and some like support, some kind of like, do better, you know, why are you with him? And it's like, we wasn't even together, but he obviously didn't deny the allegations that I was his girlfriend. I had to do that by myself because I guess he wanted to sell a story, or, you know, likes and views and stuff like that.
How did you meet him? And first of all, really sorry that you've been through this, and we're extending big auntie hugs to you.
Hugs.
Definitely check in with us. We're here if you need someone to talk to. We can definitely at least support you through this as well, or just be visible support for you. But how did you meet him, and how did that even come about?
We had met through TikTok. We had met through TikTok lives. We had gone live together, and I knew his friend Ed. I had met his friend Ed a couple weeks ago when I was in London, and that's literally how, you know, that we had mutuals later on, and we linked up. We went for, and what was out for dinner? You know, he was making snacks like dark chocolate. My first dark chocolate, and it's like I did not see none of this until a whole day later. And it was just like so embarrassing because people were calling me a colorist, calling me names like I'm the one who made the comment. And it was just, yeah.
So basically, you're like a victim in this, really. Do you know what I mean? And it's just unfortunately, this guy has put you in a very difficult position where you've just like basically just minded your own business. Really and truly, that's what it kind of seems like. And it's like, did he kind of display any like red flags like beforehand, or did you notice anything apart from like the chocolate comment? I personally hate that, by the way, as well.
Yeah, like when me and him were speaking, like when I had met with him, he was seeing no red flags. Like honestly, he was just calm, normal conversation. We got on very well, and it wasn't until I got home on my phone, I'm seeing, you know, like I'm being tagged in so many stuff, questioned him about it, and it was a thing where it's like, you know, you're not the typical black girl, your facial features, blah. Yeah, I feel like he kind of took like advantage of that situation, because even when I told him to like delete the post, delete the stuff he said, and at least speak out about the situation where you're letting people know that I was very oblivious to what you had said. He was kind of like, oh, it'll blow over, it's social media. And there's other Black people, I've got family members, you know, coming to me, asking me like I'm condoning it. And I told him, you need to speak up, at least speak up for me and protect me the way people think that I was protecting you. So when he didn't want to do that, that's when I was kind of like, okay, do you know what? I'm going to speak my truth, and I don't care who it hurts no more, because I'm not going to keep protecting someone who doesn't even want to, a simple apology to say, okay, cool, I messed up. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. If you can't even do that, you know, I don't feel like I have to even protect his feelings, or, you know, be like, I don't want to be mixed up, because he brought me into this. He made me mix up already. When to me, it was just like, we're going out for a date, we'll take a couple of TikToks. I come home and it's like, oh, wait, I should have never done that.
You can't blame yourself.
Very brave of you as well to come out and defend yourself, because a lot of situations, like you said, people would just tend to, because they don't want to hear the backlash, they'll just go quiet. And then, as you said, people will make a lot of assumptions. So it's very brave of you. And I really admire the fact that you've come forward and you're talking about it, because lots of times in these situations, women can be very oblivious to what it is that's going on and how people really feel. So yeah, just more power to you for coming out and actually saying something and saying, this is not my truth. This is not what I think. I have family members. I'm a Black girl and I'm happy. I'm proud to be one. So I really respect that.
Oh, sorry to cut you, but I was just going to say, like, it's very kind of, it just seems like a bit of like manipulative on his part because of the timing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go on a date with someone and then you post immediately and you're saying all these things. It's just like almost trying, it seems like trying to create a viral moment 101, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so, it's just heartbreaking, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've been a victim of that. And I wish there was actually more that could be done to kind of like, you know,
punish him.
Yes, basically.
It's the thing. Yeah, sorry.
No, go for it.
It's the thing where I had told him, like, you know, your followers are saying like racist remarks, and you need to speak to them to at least say you've spoken to them and you care enough about this Black girl that you're supposedly dating, instead of just keeping quiet. And when, you know, he didn't respect my wishes in that, and when obviously I released the voice notes, that's when he was calling me kind of like, you were supposed to be there for me, you let me down. And it's like, okay, but you let me down first. I was protecting, I feel like I was protecting like everyone in this situation, but no one was actually protecting me. I obviously had support from people in my messages, you know, lots of lovely messages, and there was like more love than hate, but the hate still definitely got to me. It's what I was focusing more on, and I just kind of I had wanted him to kind of like be there the way that I thought I was there for everyone else in this situation, because I feel like from the Black community, they feel like I let them down completely. But it's the thing where I didn't know. It's the thing where I legit didn't know. And with situations like this, I tend to kind of just be like, oh, whatever, like, he'll pass. I'm not used to having this amount of attention. And I told him that. Obviously, when me and him had linked up, we were talking about TikToks and socials for our views, just funny TikToks. Do you know what I mean? Nothing rude or offensive. So when this came out, I got the TikToks removed just so it wouldn't be more backlash on my end. And I told him, delete the Instagram picture. Till now, he doesn't want to delete it. He didn't want me doing no, you know, interview or coming on any podcast and things like that. But it's just like my respect is out the window. Like, I just feel like I'm embarrassed. That's literally it. I'm embarrassed, and
I think
it's just, yeah.
Don't be embarrassed, because it's not your fault. And also, this is what we Black women and women sometimes get so caught up with, not wanting to be the wrong person and betraying our men. But he has not been fair to you, and you can do whatever the hell you want. You can speak wherever you want. You can tell your truth wherever and however you want. You can do whatever you want. You talking to us is your choice. He has no control over what you do. You do not owe him a damn thing. You don't. So really, really stick with that. You do not owe him anything. He dare not come to you. If he comes for you, You've got 4 honorary aunties right here that will kick his fucking ass. And I don't care, I'll say it out here now. I'll kick your ass, motherfucker.
Not violent.
Again.
The aunties do not condone violence. But
I verbally do it. I'm you know what it is? You know what? I don't condone violence, but I'm actually really annoyed by this. I'm really actually annoyed by his behaviour. Sorry, Auntie Nana, go on.
Okay.
Go on, Charlie.
I was just going to say that I just to pick up on your point about the Black community, like this isn't like what you're seeing online. It's just because of the algorithm. That is not reflective of the actual Black community.
Yeah.
Social media, as much as like obviously we all have young people in our lives, as much as it feels very, very real at the moment while you're young, it's just not that real. Do you know what I mean? So like, please do not take these comments to heart. I know it's very, very difficult, but you have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's just people just trying to get noticed. That's it, really and truly. And half the time it's an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old in friggin', Pakistan or something, like kind of thing. Just
nonsense.
Just messaging. But I mean, from anywhere, it could just be, you have no idea. And also as well, bots as well, like people like use bots to kind of up their comments and stuff. So really don't take it, do you know what I mean, like personally, or see it as this is a reflection of the culture that you're part of. It really isn't.
No.
Yeah. I think it's really important that you speak as well, because we never see that side. It's not like this hasn't happened before, but we never hear from the women involved in these things, especially when a man has displayed this is out and out racism. And it doesn't matter that he's mixed race, he can still be racist. And he definitely, even fetishization that he presents like this black chick, black ting, but is white, all of that, it's just racism. There's no way around it. And so you owe him nothing. And I'm really, really proud of you, actually, just for standing your ground and being like, I'm not going to protect him. Everything that the aunties have said. I think on top of that, what we can do, because social media seems to be his livelihood and he really is trading off of this viral moment, is continuously report his account.
Yeah.
Let's actually just get his accounts removed and just put it under racism, like violating their policies. Let's get his accounts removed, because this guy has no place really being on social media. What he's purporting, and loads of people that follow him, it's not even just the racism as well, it's the sexism. Like his posts are so sexist, it's so toxic. And it is like, okay, so you've shown yourself, you've presented yourself to Black Twitter, as it were. Let's deal with him, because it's not everybody that is going to feel the warmth of our community. I think we have to just get rid of him.
I'm glad that you brought up reporting his account, because definitely what I was going to say is that you can't rely on social media, all the powers that sit behind it, to see these things. We know that they don't. So this is where we can take it into our own control, and we can absolutely report it. It seems to me like he's trying to audition for Love Island.
Yeah,
the next big
candidate for it.
He absolutely does. But it seems to me like that's what that's his trajectory. That's where he sees himself making a name for himself, and this is his path. Well, I was wrong. I've gone on Love Island. I can't find love. Blah blah blah. It seems like that to me. It's an absolute violation for you. And Mandi, seriously, you do not need to feel guilty about anything that you do. This is not your fault. This is his fault. And at the end of the day, you just feel secure in the knowledge that you've done everything in your power to do. You've come out, you've spoken your truth, and that's that. And there will always be trolls, and you can't control what those people think. So it's none of it's your fault.
And just one more thing. So Mandi, let's go on. Just to get some positive out of this, what do you do? How can we support you? What kind of ventures do you
The connection is quite bad. I can't hear you properly.
Okay, well, quickly, just before we wrap up, I just want to say, what do you do? Let us know how we can support you, what you're working on, and anything we can do to support you. What do you do? What career are you in?
Right now, I'm working at a bank, so
okay.
I feel like with the social media thing, I want to turn a negative situation into a better situation.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to I speak to friends, and I've got quite a few friends who are influencers, and I just want to turn something bad into something better for myself as well.
So we can just about hear you. If you could let us know where we can support, if you want your socials out there, let us know what your socials are. We can send people to send you love and support. But we really appreciate
it reconnects. Hopefully we'll reconnect. And she can hear us still. There's lots of lovely comments as well.
Yeah, let's read some comments, but just see if she can come back on. Otherwise, we'll move on.
Yeah. Okay. So I will say, so Rowena says his peers and black males in his life need to check him and handle this. And also says, as a black women, it's time we sat back and let black men step up in our protection. Candy says, I'm not surprised by his attitude. There are too many colorist people in mixed relationships raising their kids like that. Sid said, this is interesting. Nee says, his dad is former rugby star Victor Ubogu. Sorry, I can't say it properly. He is estranged from his dad for most of his life. Instead of doing therapy, he's out here doing nonsense on social media. His behavior is so cliche of a young man yearning for the love of his estranged father, who is gone to make another life and family without him. Rowena also says, interesting insight into the conversation that happened in our perceived safe spaces, in inverted commas. Mandi, there's really nothing to protect. He's a non-entity trying to manipulate you to control how this goes to gain notoriety or publicity. And Nee also says, everyone watching this should be reporting his account. Literally stop reading this now and go do it. Rowena says, very proud of you, Mandi. Speak up, clarify your position. You have support as older women. You owe him absolutely nothing. And Nee is also sending you some love as well. Sonia's also asking, did he apologize at all?
It sounds like he didn't. What's his social handle? And we say this not to, the aunties are not encouraging bullying or violent comments and stuff like that. What we're saying is actually what we believe. Well, what we've said in this group, I think we all believe, is that he should be reported for his racist comments. Those comments alone. If you are personally offended by his comments, then you have every right to take your own initiative and do what you feel is right. We feel like we want to report him, but we are not endorsing any violent or bullying towards him. That's not what we want to do. What we believe is that what he's done is wrong on that particular post. And what we will do as the Aunties account is report that racist specific post that we don't agree with. And it's up to everyone else to do what they want to do. I think it's best that we maybe let you guys find the handle rather than we give it to you, because that might be seen as some sort of encouragement. But this is what we are going to do. Thank you so much, Mandi. I was going to say something. So,
the point of his dad being estranged, I didn't know all of that. But it's quite indicative, isn't it? It's like it all adds up that he has that kind of removal probably from his black side as well. But at the same time, he probably does have some aunties that are around and uncles. And I do think now is the time that we kind of, his family starts to do something about this and embrace him. His family. It's not for all of us to do it, but his family, or if people feel so, I think he needs to feel some black love as well.
Right. So I think for our final story, we must talk about the shooting in Texas before we move on. It's big, it's insane, it's horrible, but it's also spawning a lot of conspiracy theories from the shooter himself being accused of being a transgender illegal immigrant, but also to the very big strange situation where the police did not move in on him for like 40 minutes or an hour whilst he was shooting, and parents were held back. Parents were pepper sprayed from going in, which you can definitely understand if you're trying to secure the area and you don't want parents running in and out. Of course, you don't want them in doing reckless things, because you should have a tactical maneuvers to get in and get the gunman in whichever way you feel that you need to. But it's very interesting that they were held back from entering the school for a whole hour whilst this gunman was inside, and managed to then take out 19 kids and 2 teachers and a lot more who are critically ill or ill in hospital. If you haven't heard, I'll try and do a quick overview of the story. Salvador Ramos is 18, shot his grandmother badly, badly wounding her before storming into Robb Elementary School in Uvalde in Texas, somewhere between San Antonio and the Texas-Mexico border. He was heavily armed and had a huge stash of ammunition and killed 19 fourth graders aged 8 to 10 and 2 teachers with a semi-automatic rifle, wounding about 17 others. He was ultimately shot dead by a federal agent in a classroom in which he had barricaded himself with his victims. His mother has appealed for forgiveness and she's very sorry, and his father similarly says the same thing. He's not an illegal immigrant. Nice. Apparently he turned 18 and then went off later that day to go and buy his guns. He does have a criminal he said his father said he's had a criminal past involving the law. Hasn't disclosed what that was, so if he'd known, he would not have let him buy the gun. And of course Texas has relaxed every kind of considering gun law that you could think of, and senators like Greg Abbott and pundits like Senator Ted Cruz and Greg Abbott are all saying things, you know, they're blaming the fact that there wasn't enough armed people on site, that if they had armed people on site, the man would have been taken out. But then it contradicts this whole story that there's a bunch of police there. I think there were 19 police. I think there was a policeman for every child, but yet they didn't take him out before this occurred.
They were armed as well. They had their guns.
Of course, the police were armed. Of course,
the parents.
Exactly. So, yeah. So the Ted Cruz that were also set to speak at the NRA convention the Monday after the shooting happened. And ironically, when Trump was also going to give a guest appearance speech, the NRA issued a thing saying that no one can come there armed. You weren't allowed to bring your firearms to the NRA convention. However, the NRA is endorsing no legal checks, no background checks. You can just buy a gun anyhow from when you're 18. Yeah. So it's a lot in there. You know, it happened last week when we were live on it. We didn't have time to go into it. It's been ongoing. It's heartbreaking. Just another mass shooting in America. Another issue for them to deal with. Another question for why they don't want to give up their guns. Let's discuss, because there's lots of, you know, I'm sure you guys have lots of opinions about this.
You know what I found astounding? I was reading through what the police had actually released and the time where everything, so it's like the timestamps of everything that took place. And I hadn't heard this on the news, that there was actually, he crashed a car. He shot at 2 undertakers. They managed to run in. They called the police. Within 2 minutes, there was one police officer in a car who turned up, saw the gunman on school property. So he's probably like walking through, because it's like a walkway. He walked past him and he carried on driving to a teacher, but he could have taken him out before he actually got into the school. Then there was like a series of 5 minutes later, there's 5 policemen. Still, they're kind of like allowing it to take place. And then they were letting children out. And there was that story that they were going in and getting their own kids.
Their own kids, yes, I forgot to add that.
And so they gave him enough time to lock the door and barricade it. And I'm just so suspicious about this whole thing. Like, really, really am. But also, I don't know if now is the time to go down the conspiracy theory part of it, because I do feel 19 children, 2 teachers, and all of the ones that are also, you know, injured. It's like, I feel like there needs to be a bit of time for the community to breathe. But there's definitely way too much in this to just file it under a standard kind of school shooting, which in itself is disgusting. The fact that it's like over 200 that has happened in America this year is thoroughly disgusting. But there's a lot more to this, in my opinion. I don't think it's that simple.
Well, the police didn't follow protocol either, because Sorry, the 8-year-old is coming in. So, the police didn't follow protocol anyway, because protocols, it says that if they think that people are in danger, they have to go in and put the person down straight away. And they didn't do it. they waited and waited and waited for 40 minutes before he was put down. And it's just, the whole thing saddens me because there are so many restrictions in America about what you can and cannot do at certain ages, and also what you can and cannot do with your own body. In America, you can't vote until you're 21, right? You can't drink until you're 21. You can't gamble until you're 21. But in America, you can buy a gun at the age of 18. Now, how do you feel that you can have the whereabouts and to hold a gun, but not a beer? Like, there's a vast contradiction there. We don't need to put more laws on about people carrying weapons because it's the people behind it. But then you say that the reason why you can't drink until you're 21 is because you don't have the whereabouts to be able to control what you do when you're fucked up from drinking, right? You might drive. You might become addicted to alcohol at 21. There's all these reasons why, health reasons, X, Y, Z, why they don't want people to drink until they're 21 years old. At the NRA convention the other day, there was a secret recording. I can't remember the people that did it now, but there was a media outlet, and they basically hired an actor, a 13-year-old boy, to go into grocery stores and convenience stores and all these places and try to get all the things that you can't do before you're 18. So he tried to get alcohol. They denied him. He tried to get a scratch ticket. They denied him. He tried to get all these things and they denied him. He then rocked up to the NRA and he bought a gun. And the guy gave him the gun and he said, "This one I think will really suit you." And he didn't ask him for anything. He gave him the gun and the boy went about his business with a gun that he bought at the NRA convention. So my mind is just blown by people that think that there doesn't need to be better restrictions against people having weapons. And this whole thing about our Constitution says that we have the right to bear arms. The Constitution also chatted some shit about slavery too. So there's parts of the Constitution. That's why you have amendments to the Constitution, bruv. So if you want to have the right to bear arms, then put in an amendment that says that people who carry weapons or have a license have to do X, Y, Z. It needs to be controlled. And I just don't understand. Well, I do understand because it's about money. Because the people that have been funded from, weapons or the sale of weapons and the politicians that are making money off of it, I do understand why it's happening. Unfortunately, and I hope and I pray that this doesn't happen, but until it touches someone very close to the Ted Cruzes of the world, they're just not going to give a fucking shit.
Honestly, like all of that. I just think it's just like, I was kind of listening to some of the solutions that the pro-gun people are kind of trying to put into place, and it was just like, yeah, we need one entrance and one exit for each school. Yeah. And like having like making sure like all teachers are armed and all this kind of stuff, and like it's just like, this is ridiculous. Like it's just you're making shit even worse than it is. And I really just hope that Americans are, not to say, and this is not like all of them, obviously, do you know what I mean? But they're really waking up to say, like, not everything needs to be like, oh, you have, I don't want to be contradictory, to be honest, but this is a bad thing. It is the highest cause of death for children under, I think, the age of 9. Like, how is gun violence? Like, do you know how insane that is? That is the highest cause of death of children under 9. That's insane. It's just not, I think like is often, we're not in a position to kind of like to say like, look at the UK as a better example. But was it 96 when Dunblane happened? The UK put in laws that you can't have guns. You can't you need very, very, very special licenses in order to have that. Do you know what I mean? And how many school shootings have we had since? 0. Absolutely 0. So it's just like, if you want your country to be safe and you want these children to be safe, instead of regulating, you know, women's bodies, like just get rid of the guns. Like, do you know what I mean? That's the highest cause of death. So your guns are killing children who you say you want to protect. Like, it's just, it's actual insanity. That's what it is. I really, I don't know. I don't even know, but it does. I don't know. I don't want to be what's the word? I don't want to be gullible, but I just think like it does feel like people are taking it a little bit more seriously this time around. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, it is like rinse repeat, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, when's the next one going to be? There's going to be outrage again, and then everyone's going to talk about it and have this debate, and then, you know, then it dies down, and then it's like the next one happens. Like, it's just a cycle that keeps on going round and round and round and round. And it's
Let's
just
not forget, it's 10 days after the shooting in Buffalo.
Right.
10 days.
Exactly. And it's just like, there's no way 19 children, you can't excuse this. Like, do you know what I mean? And that young, you know, that example you was talking about, Auntie Farah, is a rifle, right? It's not like, do you know what I mean? So obviously, like a handgun, you kind of need to be in a closer type of range. A rifle, that's distance. Do you know what I mean? So you can literally do more damage because it's harder to get to you. It's just like freaking hell, man. Like how I just can't. I really, it's draining.
There was a poll that I read, and it said that the last time, I think it was when there was one in a college, and that was huge for a while, in a university. Can't remember how many were killed in that one. I think it was in the 20s. And they polled, and it was like 90% of people who were polled said that they do want more stronger gun laws, and still nothing happened. It actually got further relaxed. And always the answer goes back to more people need to be armed, or they come with more good people need to be armed. It all comes down to cells. And it is like, this is the most disgusting one of guns and racism is like the most disgusting things that America seems to keep on churning constantly. And it doesn't matter who gets killed by this. It's not like, oh, this was always kind of Mexicans or black kids, or it's like generally the majority have been white, and that doesn't seem to stop anything. It's just there's this insatiable appetite for guns that is really strange, because I just don't get it. I'm really like, what is that?
I read an article, I was trying so desperately to find it so I could read from it. There was an article about the connection between gun control, the right, and racism. It's that, though it's become a bit of a folklore, was it urban myth, that the general consensus of white people in their racism is that they're fearful of the day that black people come together and rise up. So the one thing they got is protect their gun, because the minute we decide to come together, they're just going to scorch earth with us. It seems so basic, alongside the money of it all. It seems so basic, but that's literally what it all hinges down to, based on the articles and research and reports and conversations that we're having. That is just the white power structure. That is their defense. That is their defense against all the wrongs that they've done. Because, and even not just about black people, all the wrongs they've done in the world, we are run and governed by rich white men, no matter what it is, and their fear. And usually people who are bullies, they have so much personal insecurities that their defense is to be even more violent, because they have nothing else going for them. Take away their, sorry, you frowned.
No, I literally, Ronald just put a puzzling fact up that I was like, this is ridiculous. He said federal law requires you to be 21 to buy a handgun, but you can get an assault weapon, semi-automatic or a rifle, at 18.
But that's the thing.
It doesn't make sense.
It's beyond logic, because and something, because there was I'm trying to find my article now. There was some sort of conference, right? So there a guy called Beto O'Rourke. I think he's also running for Senate, to be a Senate or whatever. Republicans were on a high school stage talking about the killing of the school children, and Governor Greg Abbott was wrapping up his opening remarks.
I was just about to say that.
And Beto O'Rourke came forward from his audience saying, you know, I have something to say. He's a Democrat challenging Abbott for for governor this fall. Okay, basically, he's challenging Abbott for his seat. He said the next time to stop the next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing. What he said is it's so minor to what he said. He interrupted a conference, right? But the boos, and one particular, there's an Ulvad mayor, Don McLaughlin, some chunky white man, was like, "You sick son of a bitch." And that stuck with me. It's like, Beto O'Rourke comes up, interrupts a conference and says, what you're doing is nothing. That's all he said. But yet you yell out, "You sick son of a bitch." Where is the logic? Where's your mind at?
Actually, what I thought you were going to say is that Governor Abbott in the press conference said it could have been worse.
Oh, yeah.
That is what stuck out for me.
Because what stuck it was the fact that "you sick son of a bitch," because the way he said it was if Beto O'Rourke came up and pulled his dick out and started waving it around or doing something so like disgusting. Man just said, "What you're doing is nothing," and that warranted that response. It's just the logic and the weirdness of this, as we say. I think it's just very strange. There's no rhyme or reason, and I think we will definitely talk about on our Patreon extra episode about the world is turning into a dictatorship. We're talking about Boris Johnson and his laws. We'll talk about that on the Patreon episode. But the world is turning into a dictatorship where nothing matters. They can do whatever they want. You've got governments and presidents who, like, presidents are stopping a basketball player from traveling because they've got petty crime wars. You've got governors who are being funded by the NRA.
Yeah.
Openly.
Yeah, it's not even behind closed doors anymore.
And it's not a minor, it's millions. Because how many times have we had that conversation? Take funding out of politics in America. Yeah. Just run on your own merit. The minute funding comes in, you are not
here too. Here
You're
too.
not, and here too. Yeah, of course.
Do it in a different way, of course, as they call it. You know,
the power of the NRA is mad. Why? Pharmaceuticals and NRA, and then yet they're talking about. And I've seen again comments about, you know, the Republicans are the ones who are endorsing abortion, taking away Roe v. Wade. And someone was like saying, you don't want us to have. You're telling us not to kill our babies, our fetuses. But yet you're creating a world where our fetuses won't even live anyway.
Yeah.
So what's your point?
Yeah. From all directions: food, medicine, guns,
poverty.
Yeah.
It's very strange, isn't it?
We must have our babies in a world where our babies can be shot. 8 and 9-year-olds.
Is that not the definition of like psychopathic, like literally?
Yes. Insanity.
Psychology, exactly, insanity. It's from both sides though. It's like, yeah, the Republicans seem to be the front runners, but what are the Democrats doing?
Exactly.
So you're also enabling it to take place. Like the president, I remember when he was forever heckling Trump and being like, "What's the president doing? What's the president doing?" Now Joe Biden is the president. What are you doing? Other than, again, giving platitudes of, "This is such a sad state for our nation."
They are talking about, when it comes to, I can't remember what it is, but the next time that they're in Congress and they can change this law, because it's coming up soon. I think it's in November. Something's happening where they can vote against this or change it. So the Democrats, not saying that they're any, like, they're more palatable, aren't they, than the fucking Republicans, but they've got issues too. But basically they are promoting that laws need to be changed, and that, you know, all these people that are defending it, they need to look at. Go on, you're waving.
No, I was going to ask. I'm going to wait until you finish. Let's ask something.
Yeah, so I was just going to say they are promoting that. I've got nothing else to say now. Go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say how many, because it's the other problem, which is whether it's a real problem or not, but the seats. How many is it still Republican majority seats in the House? Because that's another thing. They block everything that comes through.
That is the problem, because.
But what's the point of having a president? What's the point of having a president then? You might as well just.
Yeah, that's like in England as well. It's the same fucking thing. You know, they don't have the final say.
Yeah.
But if that's the system that's been created, to me, that's everybody's complicit.
Yeah, they are.
It doesn't really work, because then it doesn't. Yeah. Who wins if you can't actually enforce your policies? That's by design. So that means that everybody actually is in consensus with the policies that go through. You just need to trade on You just need to trade on the polarity of it. That's why there's always 2. Realistically, why are there not 5?
Exactly.
Because there are so many streams of thought. Why would there only be left and right? Nobody has that. We use both sides of our brains. Yeah. So there should be lots of different options, but they've done this by design, and it's like it doesn't work, and they know it doesn't work. Same here, Conservative and Labour, same shit, different day. Like it's just the same stuff all around the world. It's so infuriating because where can we go to get away from these psychopaths?
Where?
Just want to add that in America, it says that they've had 214 mass shootings in 2022.
Yeah.
We are still in the 5th month.
Yeah, we're only in May.
214 mass shootings.
But how many days have even passed? We're not even on the 200th and something day of the year. So that means that sometimes there's 2 or 3 that have taken place. And it's just, this is ludicrous. Like, you imagine sending your child to school and they have to do this training as to what takes place if there's an active shooter. Like hide, jump out windows, like get scissors, like barricade yourselves. Like this is training for kids. Like
sales for bulletproof backpacks have increased.
What's that? A bullet? Oh my god!
It's dumb. It's dumb. I saw so many comments the next day. Like, how am I going to school as a teacher? How am I sending my child into school? Because who's sending I'm homeschooled. I can't even fathom it. I couldn't fathom it.
The idea that teachers should arm themselves.
Arm themselves.
They don't sign up to put their lives on the line for children. What they sign up to do is to educate children and keep them safe.
One of the softest places
to. My sister's a teacher. I know she's not on that shit. Like, it's nonsense. If she wanted to do that, she would have been a police person. She would have gone into law enforcement. That's not what
we know guns are never the answer, because even with all of the police training, so you're going to train teachers. Sometimes it's tough in school. You're stressed. You're tired. Kids come at you. What are you going to do? You're going to pull out your gun. That's just more gun violence taking place. It's like the answer isn't arming teachers. Most definitely not.
Yeah.
The answer isn't arming the police.
Exactly. Then they want to come with this rhetoric of guns don't kill people, bad people do.
And why are they even added in that bad? Like everybody's like bad or good. Like that's not life.
Off day and snap, as has been shown.
Because they don't recognize. Let's not forget, they don't recognize when hundreds of people are being shot by police in the streets,
and also
surrendering unarmed.
And the shooters themselves, a lot of them are damaged kids. The young ones are damaged kids. And then, as much as they are violent criminals who've done something disgusting, what's that problem? The mental health of them as well. So are they bad, or have they had a moment in a break in their psychology, in their psychic?
Another stat for you: more than 17,300 people have lost their lives due to gun violence in 2022 alone in America.
That's long. They don't want it. There's a culling. They don't want it. I just hope they do something about it.
Just to add a further source on, have you guys ever seen the parents of any of the gun shooters being interviewed? The white ones. No, I've never seen that before. So when I saw the shooter's mum being interviewed, I was like, oh, hang on here. Like, when have we ever had the parents come forward to be interviewed by the press? And then there was a statement released by the dad as well. And it's just like, I don't remember when we've had context.
They're probably scared.
I think it does happen. I think what happened in that moment was she said he had his reasons, and it was just like, what? Like, do you know what I mean? It was just like insane. Like, what are you talking about? So it was just really bizarre, but it wasn't like I think the dad was talking about the grandma, because he shot the grandma as well, kind of thing. Yeah. He was talking about, do you know what I mean, that situation. But it does happen. You do see interviews, like, definitely.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've never seen an interview straight after a shooting. And sometimes I always actively look for, has a mother or father said anything about their child? Like, just to be like...
I would imagine that lawyers would tell them not to say anything. Do you know what I mean?
I would think so. Like, that's why I was like, okay, this is strange. So we have a Mexican family here, and they're being put out on Front Street. But usually the parents are shielded. There's just lots of little parts of this where I'm just like, everybody's playing a bit. They're all playing up into this as well. And we'll see where all the chips land.
All right, guys. Let's, we got any more comments before we move on?
Yeah, we have quite a few comments, but I'm just trying to see. I'm just going to pick a couple. So Ronald also saying, with his earlier comment, was saying that there will never be an amendment. Unfortunately, an amendment to Constitution requires the approval of 2/3 of the states. Rowena says it's such a clear display of how low humanity can sink in the name of money and power. America is a failed society. Thanks, Nicola. Nicola says pro-life gun laws. Pro-life, I think, versus gun laws. Just two things alone don't make sense.
Yeah.
Laws. And Rowena also says there's apparently 50 senators that are hardline blockers, just 50 people holding almost 90% of the population hostage to these gun laws. What is the point of POTUS, really?
Honestly. Okay, guys, we no doubt this story will be around for a while. We will revisit it as and when. Okay, time to move on to Aunties Know Best. This is where your favorite aunties get into the issues and problems of the day. Please, guys, if you have a dilemma, we do say this from time to time. Let us know what your problem is. We will solve it for you. And actually, we will. If you really want to, we could do a special Patreon one-on-one advice with you. Like you just get aunties to yourself, breaking it all down, giving you some real seasoned quality advice. So please let us know in the DMs. We will read them out if you want us to on the show, and we'll get into it and get some support from the community as well. Tell us your problems. We'll help resolve them. So we were going to do this as a culture story, and it's not necessarily a dilemma. However, Yasmin Evans, who is a radio presenter on Radio 1, if I got it correct?
She's on Heart FM.
Why did I think she was on Radio 1?
She was on, and she left in February or January or something like that.
Yeah. So my bad. Yasmin's now on Heart FM. She's a radio DJ. And she put out on her stories, "Tonight I was walking towards Liverpool Street to get my train home. A guy grabbed my arm and I refused him. He then proceeded to argue and punch me in the face, which then knocked me out cold twice, along with the person I was with. 3 black guys and a guy who was mixed race all punched and kicked me while I was on the ground, knocked me out twice while saying, just because you're a woman doesn't mean I won't fuck you up. I've called the police, but if anyone was on Liverpool Street and saw anything, please contact me." Like I said, 1 mixed race guy, 3 black guys, one of them with short dreads tied back in a bobble that were dyed blonde. I would appreciate your help at around 1 a.m. in London. I don't know what's happened since, whether the guys have been caught, whether anything has happened. However, the outpouring of support and love for Yasmin and a kind of empathetic shake of our heads that this happens to women quite often. So it's a dilemma. It's a big dilemma. It's a social dilemma with why some men are so fragile and insecure when they get rejection from a woman, and for women just minding their own daily business. How do we protect ourselves from this type of unprovoked attack? What do you do? Are you supposed should you just give your number? Because, I think we've discussed how sometimes you give your fake number, the guy will ring it on demand in front of you. So what should women do to protect themselves in those situations? And 2, the bigger issue is, what the hell are men doing about this issue, and why the hell are they why are they so insecure about this rejection thing?
I don't even know where to begin with this. It's so distressing. And it's probably one of my biggest fears, like being out and about, is like something like this kicking off when you're just trying to get home. But also I definitely am more witnessing this real level of contempt that seems to be in men towards women, and the growing number of people subscribing to these incel camps and like red pill and everything, and really seeing women as like the enemy, I think breeds this to keep on growing, and different forms of violence, not like the attacks, rape, date rape, just all of it seems to mold into one. Just recently I was speaking with my husband about the odds that seems to happen in primary school. Like, we keep on having this with the boys. It's like it's like they're just not meshing with girls. Like they have a friend for a while, then it seems to go wrong. And it's like, does it start from then? Is there this real mismatch in the sexes from school and it carries on and then it just festers in a real contempt for each other? This is just something I was just thinking on. Just, does it start from then? Is it literally like they're really young and it's already the seed is being planted and you just grow to just dislike the other sex? I don't know. Or is it purely peers? As you get older, it's just how your peers interact with women. I just don't know how we can stem this. So in the plight to bring up really well balanced men, I am having this conversation a lot. Like, what can we do so that, you know, it's not one of my sons doing this shit? Like, I really don't know.
It's a lot. I don't know how helpful it is anymore to kind of speak to what women have to do to protect themselves, because like this is what we do. This is how we live. This is how society is set up. Do you know what I mean? And it's just not. It's not really about us. Do you know what I mean? Like it's about men, and it's just like it's interesting how you kind of phrase it as like they're insecure, and it's just like, but also violent. Do you know what I mean? This is what we're talking about. It's violence. Like it's just like, you know, touching someone without consent. Do you know what I mean? He grabbed her arm. That's the first violation. Like, why are you grabbing her arm? Like, you don't have a right to do that to someone. Like, you just don't, like anyone. Do you know what I mean? With male or female or whatever, like you just don't have the right to do that. And then to kind of, because you're rejected, have such an extreme reaction that is violent. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like not knocking someone out once, but knocked out twice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't. And then you're not even by yourself, you're with someone else and they got knocked out too.
Like 4 men together.
It's just insane. To me, it did seem like, you know, Yasmin is a public figure. Do you know what I mean? And my first thing was just like, shit, did she get set up? Do you know what I mean? Because those things do happen. Do you know what I mean? And people don't really talk about that. They do happen. I don't know about you guys, but I've been knocked out before. Like it's a maddening experience. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and by a guy as well, kind of thing, in a public place as well. And when I was quite young, and it was just like, what the fuck is happening? Do you know what I mean? And just not having anyone there to actually support me or kind of like take care of me or anything like that. It's just like insane. I hope she gets, well, I'm saying that to say that this happens a lot. You know what I mean? I even saw on Instagram, there's one, I'm going to say quite random Instagram or TikTok girl that I follow who she does like interesting facts and stuff and everything like that. And she was at a Metallica concert, and because of that, I didn't even know, like she just got, some guy was annoyed that she pushed him because she was pushed by someone else, and he punched her. Like, do you know what I mean? And like she thought, okay, you don't realize I'm a girl because of the way that I'm dressed. He's like, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll punch you again. And then afterwards, when it was separated, he still got to be in that space. And this was in VIP, by the way, as well. Like, he still got to be in that space, just in a different area, and people just like coming up to her and saying, oh, you know, it's so mad that happened, so sorry for you, but you're not actually doing anything about it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I kind of find maddening, is just like, you know, like Liverpool Street Station is very busy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, people saw this and they probably just thought, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to, do you know what I mean? Like, interact with that. And it's just, unfortunately, yeah, it's just the way it's I don't know, like I'm kind of rambling a bit, but I just think like a lot of work, men have to do a hell of a lot of work, almost more work than women do on a daily basis just to keep ourselves safe. Do you know what I mean? We have to think about how we look, how we speak, how we carry ourselves, like everything, like constantly looking for danger, constantly going into a situation and just seeing if like, okay, is there a frigging exit? How do I get out of there? Can I actually go down that road by myself? Can I do that? Do you know what I mean? Like constantly all the time, every single fucking day, every day. Men don't do any of that. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't have to do any of that, but they also don't work on themselves. They don't work on like, can I check my bias here? Why do I feel like this? Why am I saying this? Why is my friend saying this? Do you know what I mean? They don't even do that work. And it really, there can be no change, or there can be no reduction on this kind of like curbing this violent behavior if they don't do that, if they don't start to begin to do that. So that was a long way to answer that question, but those are my thoughts. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and there's not really much. It's just like racism in a sense, that kind of thing. If you're a racist person, you see a person a certain way, you have to do the work. You literally have to do the work. There's nothing that person can do to help change, really and truly. You have to do the work. And men aren't doing the work. They don't give a shit, because the way the society is set up, they benefit anyway.
I don't know what to say. It's actually you know what, the other we went out the other night, and I was so full of rage of seeing a guy that was we saw at another party, and he invaded our space, and he indecently put his hands on Auntie Sade. Not in a like, well, it's indecent, not to the extreme that you're thinking, but he put his hands on her. And I remember I got into it with him, and he was very aggressive, belligerent, and said all sorts of nasty things to us. And in that moment, like, it was really horrible. Luckily, he didn't turn violent, but he was very belligerent and disgusting. And we had to endure that the whole time we were waiting to get our drinks. And I was arguing with him, and you know, we were just, it was horrible. And then we went out this weekend, saw him again, and I was enraged because like, he gets away with that. No one checked him. No one says anything. I mean, the reckless in me wanted to go up to him and start arguing with him again, because you didn't get enough. You didn't get enough because what you did was disgusting. How you treated us was disgusting. He looks like he's much older than us as well. So it was like, there was just no repercussions for him, and he's out there with his friends. And you know, I think in the time before when we were out, we said I was telling a friend, and the friend was like making jokes, like trying to check me, but not acknowledging the fact that your friend is disgusting. And he was like, oh, I don't know him, but yeah, I've seen you talking to him. And it's just this whole kind of, oh, it's okay, it's nothing. And that men don't check each other. They really, really don't. And I mean, again, without full context, we had Kojo on the other day, and he showed the rap party, his podcast Rap Party. There's a clip that's going out now that's saying, you know, older women give younger girls the worst advice. Now that's a clip, so I'm granted we haven't watched the whole show, so I don't know if there's any more context. But that's the thing that we tend to get a lot of barrage about how we're doing. Why isn't the clip about older men haven't given our young boys the best tools to move forward and grow and evolve with? And that is the fact. Yes, there might be some bitter women that might have said some things to some women, but the general consensus, men dominate this world. We are led by men, whether you want it or not. The society is controlled by men and governed by men at the moment. And most of the things we do are dictated by the whimsical whims of men. But yet, we are always being told how to be better, how to be high value women. All these people are telling us what to do, but no one ever talks to men about what the fuck they've done to this world. And I don't understand how 4 men, and it probably is that kind of lemming mentality and maybe not wanting to be seen as the weak one. How can 4 men round on 2 girls and bust them up till you're knocking them out just because they don't want you? Just because they don't want you. And that thing where they say, you know, women always competing with each other and we're always bringing each other down and we're always peacocking for each other. No, a lot of women peacock for men, and men, you guys act like you don't peacock for each other. But on your manifesto is gal, sex, and money. 100. That's all and especially if we're talking about our cultural kind of isms and triggers and beacons, it's gal, sex, and money. That's what a man's power is. That is it. That's literally what it's embedded into our men. You've got to have women. You've got to be able to fuck and have a big dick, and you've got to make loads of money. Then you're successful. Not that, are you a caring human being? Are you in touch with your emotions? Do you know how to fairly assess when you're being either too violent? Because men do have more violent tendencies. That's the way testosterone is set up. So are you addressing the fact that you're feeling irrationally angry in certain situations? Why? And how do you manage those emotions when your natural male instincts are tested? How about dealing with that? How about having those conversations? Because there are things that, yes, when men and women are different. And so I'm not a scientist, but from evidentially, men are more violent. They are more easier and quick to be violent. So why aren't there men out there talking to other men and young boys specifically that when you have these violent urges, how do you manage them in situations where it's not normal to go off and bust up a woman just because you feel slighted or insecure? Why are we not having those conversations? Like, I mean, and you're right, Auntie Shade, it's not for women to always have the rules, like dress properly, do this and do that because of men's madness. However, I would have to tell the younger women in my charge, or women in my charge, or young people who look up to me, young women that look up to me, like, actually, whilst we're trying to get men to sort themselves out, here are some tips that you could possibly do to just get yourself out of a situation in the moment. Because unfortunately, until society switches, we do need to arm our girls with little bit of tricks and tactics to get out of a situation as best you can. Is it just give the guy your number and at least get away from them and then block them afterwards? Is it doing that? Is it's horrible to have to do it. But
we try and do all of that. Like we're
I know there's
knowing all of these things. It's like that we innately are always trying to keep safe.
Yeah.
And I think it's I think it's like both are the same. Like I really do think emotional intelligence needs to be taught in schools, but also parents to be taught this as well. It's like, it's never going to change when the person is an adult. It's in the socialization to get to be an adult. There's so many parts where, you know, the majority of the country goes through a schooling system and you're actually not being told how to interact with each other and curb your violence, other than if your violence gets caught, you'll either be suspended or expelled. Not what do you do when you're feeling angry to stop that. It's like all of these parts actually will create a more cohesive society. But if it's not deemed, if nobody is being emotionally intelligent, this is what we're going to be left with. It's like, but what can we do? So that means that women now, we shouldn't go out anywhere. You can't get on public transport. You can't walk down this road because there's going to be this crazy madman who's going to get you and try and beat you up. It's like, we have to live, but they also have to live and be responsible with it. How can we get there? Really, other than like, you know, how can women keep safe? That's not, it's not that. It's how can they control their violent urges?
Yeah.
How do we put that in? How do we put that in place? And I do think as a parent, every parent has to be thinking that. Like, really, how do we control this? The same way with girls as well. Girls are becoming more violent as well. What is this? I guess it's a reflection of politics and everything as well. It's like everybody is being a little bit more violent and heightened in their tempers and not knowing how to control themselves from the top down.
First of all, much love to Yasmin. I hope she recovers as well as she can from this. But I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. I don't think it's a case of what we need to do to protect ourselves, because we're not the issue. It's not down to us. We should be able to walk outside, feel free to wear what we want, and to say no to somebody if they approach you and to not have it come back on you. We should be free to do that. I definitely think that in schools, children should be taught about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be taught about respecting those boundaries and respecting people. They're not taught that in school. There's so many things that children are not taught. And you've got to remember, even if you are a parent that says certain things to your child, like this is wrong, when they go to school, they're in school for a long time. They're with their peers and, you know, surrounded by things that you don't know what's happening for a long chunk of the week. You're probably with them on the weekend. They spend more time at school than they do in your home.
Yeah.
So whilst it is important for parents, and you most definitely have to also be responsible for raising decent human beings, it's also important that this is taught in schools. We're seeing violence rise. We're seeing all these things happen. And I think the curriculum needs to change as a reflection of that.
Yeah.
When there was a lots of teenage pregnancies, what did they do? They started teaching sex education.
Yeah.
So therefore, I feel like it has to be implemented into the school about boundaries and about how to manage your anger, and about mental health, about all of those things. It needs to be taught in school. That's what I've got to say, because it's not down to women learning how to protect them. I don't want to walk down the road holding my keys, but I do.
Yeah.
That's
Always got something in my hands. Always.
Always. But that's the thing. It's unfortunate. But yeah. Anyway, let's get the comments.
Okay, so Ronald says, doesn't sound unprovoked, seem like they were waiting for a victim. Candy says Liverpool Street Station is a frightening place. You constantly have to dodge people being violent. When I heard where it happened, I wasn't surprised at all. I was so saddened and pissed off that it was black men that did this to her. Like, how could they not check each other? And then also goes on to say there's a lot of bottomless brunches near Liverpool Street, which contributes to the sheer carnage you see there. Rulles says there is a strange parallel between schools in America and telling women everywhere what to do to protect themselves from male's violence that they can't control. Totally agree. Rowena says, I wonder if social media plays a part in the disconnect and distrust, spaces where people speak and challenge in ways that trigger men, who then come away feeling diminished or small, so they act out violently in real life, perhaps.
I think
in there.
There is.
Yeah. And then also says intervention needs to happen in schools and in the home, basic right and wrong, peer mentoring, mental health, anger management, etc. You know what? I don't actually think that is... it's changed that much. I don't think I know obviously we live in this world of social media, but what's different? Like, do you know what I mean? Like when we were young, when we were going out, like, you know, you can't just barge any man. Like, you know, you couldn't just, if a guy asks you for your number, it was the safest option to give him your number. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's only if you were like maybe a bit rude or had your wits about you or knew that people could back you that you could maybe throw a bit of attitude. But for the most part, you had to comply. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that hasn't changed. That was our reality. That was our, do you know what I mean? And we're what, 20 odd years, that's 20 odd years ago. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing that keeps happening again because society fundamentally has not changed.
Yeah, I think it's just always, it's heightened because we're more connected and there's more immediate reaction. I think there could be something in everything othered. There's an enhancement because there's more conversation about it. And humans react to popularity. So there's something in maybe more men or boys being triggered by things that possibly if it wasn't in their immediate psyche, they wouldn't even have thought about it, or it wouldn't even have been a thing that they would react in a certain way. I think
I don't agree. I just don't.
I'm saying that it could.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I think we are influenced by what we see around us, and if it's more,
how has it changed? Before that, we used to have like page 3 models that was like a part of our newspapers that objectified women. That was the norm. That was our reality growing up. Like hitting your wife wasn't necessarily like seen as a big thing. It was only in the 70s or the 80s where it was illegal to actually rape your wife. That was what we was born into. Like, do you know what I mean? So what's
I don't think society's changed. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily got worse, but I do think that I think it's a number of things. I think that the connectivity and the interaction with us and seeing more things is possibly enhancing what was already in us and the society that hasn't changed. I don't think that, because like porn was accessible, but not as accessible as it is now. So it's having an effect on how young people are interacting when it comes to sex. That's even though there's been debauchery, there's been all sorts of kind of weird sex things and fetishes and all that type of stuff. And porn has been around since whichever, like the hundreds. early hundreds. Now that it's more accessible, there's a lot more. It's spawned a lot more subculture and other things that have come with it that maybe would have still come to light in a slower way. But it's because I think it's just fast tracked our emotions a lot more. Everything's on speed dial, so everything's like we don't have time to pause and react until we're on to the next thing, until on the next thing. So you're talking about a society that's growing up in such heightened awareness of everything, being bombarded by everything. We've got people with mental health issues on everything. We, as from the 70s, 80s generation, are saying that we're a bit more tougher because we didn't have the tools to talk about mental health and stuff like that. So maybe we were damaged, but also that we had a lot more coping mechanisms because we weren't told that actually ABC is wrong, or ABC, you now need to see a therapist. You know what I mean? So I think there's
I guess that what I'm focusing on is like male violence. Like to me, that really hasn't changed that much. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I don't see like them, you know, being any less violent than they were 20 years ago.
I don't think male violence has reduced.
Maybe some of the consequences, but then sometimes it's just like, you know, to even get a rape charge convicted doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it's just like, it's not what we have in place to deter men doesn't really deter them. And it's
I think maybe I don't know, I'm gonna jump in and say I think this is what you're trying to get to. I think that social media makes things a lot more accessible, and there are a lot of disgusting social media sites and pages and podcasts and YouTube channels where there are a lot of disgusting conversations and comments about women and what women's worth are in comparison to men. Now, unfortunately, and I said this before, what happens is you get some men and boys taking snippets out of the conversations, not listening to the full thing, and running with the rhetoric that they are more and we are less than. So where the tendency to be violent has always been there and may not have changed, the feeling that it's not, that they're more is more accessible. I'm maybe not explaining it.
I think the medium has just changed, but I think that rhetoric was usually on Saturday night television. Do you know what I mean? Like that was like in the everyday sexism that we had to face. Like, do you know what I mean? That it's just the same thing, just the platform has changed. Like I think
it's exactly that. The rhetoric has always been there, but the amount of time that you can spend swimming in that pool has changed. Before it may have just been a show. It could have been Afghan, it could have been something, it's half an hour. But now you can spend days in that world reading all of these views from various men all around the world, and then you soak it up like this is reality, and you go out and do shit. It would be great to actually look into the stats to see, well, violence has risen year on year anyway, it's always rising, but just in the emergence of the internet, to certain factions of violence, how you could probably correlate the two. I think there's definitely way more men who, they live in that space and are literally like trying to be like, how can we just mac women? And there's thousands of them talking with each other. They wouldn't have means before. And
also
that's the means to do more. It's the means to
interrupt you, but the other thing is what we all said about social media earlier. For a certain generation, they don't understand that it's not fucking real. Like what you perceive and what people it's not real life, but they're clinging on to that and they're trying to live their life by this. So you have all these other problems. It's, you know, my heart just breaks for her. And as we've all said, she's not to blame.
No,
women are not to blame. It's not down to us to fix the fucking problem. You know, we should be able to walk around freely. I know I haven't been knocked out before, but I've definitely been in a position where I don't feel safe. So I might lessen myself or quieten myself. To not, because I'm scared of what the outcome might be.
Or walk away from a disrespect as it's happening.
Absolutely.
And do you know what? I think back in the day, I was less scared of being attacked than now.
I think so. I think that's probably the heightening of the internet though as well. The vastness and the messages and the things that you see, I think definitely increases a lot of fear in all of us. And so, you know, where are we operating from? When you're operating in fight or flight, you're not being your best self in any way. Your body is under stress. you're not thinking freely, you're not being as creative. It's like we're in a world where we're all really under a lot of stress and we're not actually thinking effectively because we're not in safe spaces. That's why we're all in a madness at the moment. It's like we have to actually really be thinking, how can we make a better, more cohesive society for everybody? And male violence has to be at the top of the priority to start sorting out. Like,
honestly.
in isolation.
Male violence is responsible for a lot of things, including
the whole
gun
world
violence.
Because of male violence, wars, this, that is male violence. And I don't understand. No, we do. I say I don't understand flippantly, but it's like, can you guys not just look at yourselves and say, "Oh, it's us. It's us."
Why would they?
Exactly. That's why. That's why I say it differently.
Absolutely no incentive.
They're winning. They're not going to do that.
That's why I went back to my point. I always about when you're a government, why do you want your world to be fucked? Because you're striving for power of nothing.
And then you've got to remember what they do is for the men that are, don't abide by those kind of rules. They start saying that they're wimps and pussies and simps and all of this type of shit. Don't they?
Like, their food lightly.
Yeah, and you don't let your woman submit to you.
All right, guys, we must move on. Okay. Thank you for all the comments. And don't forget, we are on Patreon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments on all our listening platforms. Now it's time to find out what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week, ladies. Starting with, I've closed my thing by mistake.
Sorry, you're actually first.
Okay, I'm ready. So what made me sad actually is the Yasmin Edmonds story. Of course, Texas shooting, but the Yasmin one just floored me. And as Auntie Farah said, sending you much love and hugs, and hopefully those guys get legally got. I'm mad at Boris Johnson's dictatorship and the world's apathy to corrupt politicians. What can we do? How can we do it? How can we stop it? And again, it lies with the white angry men who are destroying the world. But Boris Johnson, you're taking the fucking piss, mate. And I'm very, very glad for this weekend. It was lovely celebrating Auntie Farah's birthday from Friday through to Sunday. Had a great time on Friday. We had dinner, and I don't want to tell Farah's story. She might want to talk about it. Had a great time on Friday with Auntie Farah. And then on Sunday, the aunties had a very long day of brunching and then rounding up with more celebration of the wonderful Auntie Farah for her birthday. So it was a good weekend. Thank you, guys. Love you all. Auntie Farah, what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week?
Kind of what you said, but I am sad at the the Texas shooting. I'm extremely sad at that. It's heartbreaking. I was just looking at my daughter the next day as she was getting ready for school, and I was just like, some people aren't going to be able to have this. And it's your worst fear. Yeah. Your absolute worst fear. And that the fact that the parents couldn't get in and nothing was being done and they were being harassed and tasered and arrested. It's and you heard them saying, we'll go in. If you don't want to, we'll go in. Those things broke my heart. It broke my heart to listen to the children that survived talk about what they had to do and how they felt unsafe. Just fucking broke my heart. That made me extremely sad. I am mad at what happened to Yasmin Evans and the fact that not one single person, you can't tell me Liverpool Street didn't have no one there. No one came to their defense. No one. It just makes me fucking mad. It makes me fucking mad that 4 men did this to her. And in their group, not one of you thought, hold on, bruv, what the fuck are you doing? Let's back away from this shit. That made me mad. And my glad is obviously my birthday. My birthday was the 20th annual, was it? My friend said it's the 20th anniversary of my 25th birthday. Yeah. And I absolutely had the best birthday. My niece turned 18 the day before me, before my birthday, and she wanted to go out raving. She hadn't gone raving before, and she wanted to go out raving with all the aunties, and it was just the best thing. My goddaughter also came because she just turned 18. And I had a lovely moment, and I was just looking at them like, fucking hell, how did we get here? I'm raving with these 18-year-olds, and they were just, it was so nice to see them have that moment in a club, and just, yeah, that was lovely. I had a lovely dinner with the girls, had a wonderful Sunday with you guys. I got a sibling tattoo on Saturday. It's just been, I've had the best birthday. and I feel like it should continue for the rest of this week. Just saying. But thank you guys. Love you all. Love to all of you that wished me happy birthday, and love to all of you that made it epic. Thank you.
Auntie Nana, what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week?
I was super sad at hearing about Ray Liotta's passing. He was like one of my favorite actors, and I really was like, that's a real shame. 67 again is like no age, but he went in what I consider one of the best ways to just pass in your sleep. So, you know, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Again, yeah, Yasmin Evans, everything you guys have said, just wishing her all the love in the world. I was super mad at who I'm usually never that mad at, Donald Trump. He was going through the names of the children that had been killed. And it was the most, I can't even describe it. It was weird, eerie, and appeared like a ritual. So he says their name, and there was this big gong that went after it. So it was like, I think one of their surnames was Lopez, and then there was a massive dong, and then he would say another name. And it reminded me of when at the end of church, and they go through the names of people who may have passed. Yeah, and it was just very ritual. It just reminded me of like Catholic Church. There was something in it. It totally like freaked me out. So I was very mad at that, because then I felt like I was a part of the ritual for watching it as well. And I was just like, this is so weird. But yeah, so I'm not feeling the old Trumpster anymore. And then I'm super glad for the weekend of fun and spending time with you guys. And I was introduced to a new drink that's called the Godfather. And it's 2 parts whiskey and 2 parts amaretto. And it's so sweet and powerful and burns. It's like the best type of drink concoction that you could have. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Try the Godfather. It's an amazing drink.
How mashed up were you when you had them?
Yeah. But it was.
PSA warning: if you're going to try the Godfather, please drink responsibly, because
I would say do it somewhere like
safe.
Calm, probably like in somebody's house. Like it was a calm wedding in a pub. So yeah, it was a subtle one. It's not really a raving drink. I would say it's more of a dinner party with friends, safe environment type of drink. But it's very nice.
Auntie Sade, what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week, girl?
So sad. Definitely the school shooting in Texas and what happened to Yasmin. Just pretty awful. Mad. My mad is I'm kind of mad at myself, really, because, which I'll probably tell on our Patreon story, but I had a waxing incident, which was totally my fault. Not what you think, but it was totally my fault. And really and truly, I had no business doing it at the time I was doing it. It just didn't make sense. I was just a bit annoyed at myself. I just don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, and I'm glad because Sunday was just such an amazing day. Obviously, celebrating Farah's birthday, which is really cool. Went to the WAP brunch, which was really cool as well. And then I went to like Naira Marley's album launch, although he wasn't there because I don't think he can come to the UK. I don't know how to say that, but yeah. So but it was interesting. It was just such an interesting event as well, kind of thing. So yeah, I had fun. But yeah, that was me.
Auntie Nana, Actually, Auntie Nana, you're going to announce our new Spotify.
Oh yes, okay. Sorry, I was even like thinking, what's happening now? So remember a couple of weeks ago, I did mention that we will have a Your Aunties Could Never Spotify playlist. It is up and running now, so you can search for us on Spotify. Just quickly, ladies, what are you adding this week to the playlist?
Well, this week's theme about getting money and just making it out the hood, as it were. So my tunes, because I'm a whole hip hop head. Cash Rules Everything Around Me by Wu-Tang, one of the best tunes ever. Survival of the Fittest by Mobb Deep, one of the best tunes ever. Can't Knock the Hustle by Jay-Z, one of the best tunes ever. Those are my tunes.
Auntie Sade.
So mine is more like inspiration of that. So Miller J kicking back is more like you have to be in a zen peace of mind place to like encourage wealth into your life. And then BR featuring J. Cole London, which is more like spend. And then Black Sheriff Quaker the Traveller is more like, when you go over budget and you mess up. That's my
I fucked up.
Who hasn't put up hands in the air? No hands.
I love that bit. I love that line. That's my favorite. No hands.
Black Sheriff. Bad man.
Love it.
Yeah, that was a big one. Okay,
mine is very hip-hop influenced. So I've got I Get Money by 50 Cent. And then I've got Kanye West, Can't Tell Me Nothing. Wait till I get my money. And then I've got Biggie's Give Me the Look. Give me the look. Motherfucking right. My pocket's looking kind of tight. And I'm stressed because I am stressed and my pocket is looking kind of tight.
Okay. And mine is my old favorite, Rihanna, Bitch Better Have My Money. Love that track. The White Stripes, Seven Nation Army is more like that kind of trudging. I put it on when I want to hustle hard. It's like it inspires me to like go for it. And Fallacy, the Groundbreaker, which again is kind of like it reminds me being 20 and just hustling, styling, and just takes me back to that time. So I love that track.
Kill. Auntie Anna, staying on you. Have you got an unpopular opinion or a hit list?
I really could not think of anything.
Does anyone else have something on the list?
Yes, somebody else.
Have I said this before about I don't know if it's my hit list of men that when debating say that I'm always interrupted and they're actually not being interrupted and they go on to interrupt other people, usually women. It drives me literally insane.
I'm with you wholeheartedly. I am with you. And to my best friend, when you hear this, me and you had this conversation the other day and you interrupted me and you kept saying I was interrupting you. I do love you though, brethren. But yeah, hate it.
Yeah.
All right. Have we got any final comments before we move on?
So Ronald's asking, what is a presenter? It's not American. It's like a show host. Yeah, someone like that. Nicola says, happy birthday, Auntie Farah. And Ronald says also, how many degrees of separation, how many degrees separate that kind of violence from something from Kevin Samuels would have said? That is a good.
That's exactly what I started off with. Cells and red pills are part to blame to it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was alluding to.
Amplifying the noise, the nonsense.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
Right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching and listening. This has been your Aunties Could Never. Please follow us on all the social media platforms. Watch us back on Facebook and YouTube and listen to our episodes on most popular listening platforms. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to write your reviews on Apple Podcasts. The higher our reviews, the more we'll be seen, the more we become rich, wonderful aunties. We also have a Patreon. Don't forget, that's www.patreon.com/Your Aunties Could Never. We'll be back next week. Bye.
And thanks to Mandi for coming on.
And
yes.